I do work for Gloucester County Emergency Management, and started kind of going through what my passions were. You know, every now and then we reevaluate ourselves and things like that, and was bringing in a lot of emergency management pieces on the elderly and the vulnerable in our population, especially with COVID. It really hit all of us on different levels, everybody working more and trying to put all those pieces together. And prior to that, I began to take care of my father. And I struggled to get through this piece, so just bear with me, but ended up taking care of my dad, who was suffering with memory loss. And so I started journaling and writing things down in the beginning, and then I stopped, because if you've ever been a caregiver, you don't have time to use the bathroom, much less write things down, right? So really just start putting things together, and literally like, okay, let me put this in a pamphlet form, let me see what to do with it, let me see if I can help people. So I had it in a PDF, and I sent it out to some people and said, give me some feedback, what do you think? And it very quickly became my passion. And especially right after I lost my dad, that's a whole other piece. After you're caregiving for a long time and then you stop, that brings up a completely different field for your emotions and everything else. And one day I was sitting there and I was trying to figure out what to do with all this. I have the booklet in my hand. How do I get the word out? And Reggie came to mind. Not only met her half a dozen times through a mutual friend, and I'm like, okay, let me reach out to her randomly and get her feedback, which worked out really well for me. Got some great feedback incorporated into the second piece that I'm doing, and it was like the doors opened. People started calling me saying, I'm a caregiver, and I don't know what to do. My significant other is suffering with memory loss, or my parent is, or my sibling, and it isn't just one or two people. I have not met many people who have not experienced this. So does anybody here understand what I mean about care? I mean, have you experienced caregiving, or you know somebody? Yeah. And how about with memory loss? Yeah. And it is, take your heart out, right? Jump on it a few times and try to put it back in. And so I created a pamphlet that I wanted to help other people with. And I'm not good at self-promoting at all, but what I did was took it to people that I knew that were going through it and said, will this or won't this help you? What were your biggest challenges? So what was your biggest challenge when you were caregiving? Anybody?
Part of my husband came from a big family, and they want to feel like this is all problem at one person.
Yeah.
Even though they can be supported in other ways, sometimes you need physical support.
Yeah, and that's how I felt. So somebody said, I feel like I'm on an island. I said, you are on an island. You don't just feel like that. And then what happens is you have your rhythm, you have what you're doing, you're going through the motions. It was really hard for me to give any of those pieces up, because now I know what works and I know how to do it. And when my routine was thrown off, it's like, okay, stay away, I've got this, right? I can do this on my own. No, you can't take them to the doctor. No, you can't do that. I know what to say and do, and the slightest thing throws people off. But then I started looking into caregivers. That's a whole other thing, isn't it? So you need somebody who has experience, you need somebody reliable, you need somebody that understands the situation, and people aren't necessarily trained in all of that. And then you deal with the doctors who don't talk to your person, they talk to you. And the person's still there. So my goal, and I'm partnering with an agency over the bridge this summer, is to do a caregiver half a day, which is a struggle. So partnering with an organization where your person can go, so you have that 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours to connect with other people and say, help me. You know, because I sighed when I opened a cabinet and my loved one said, what just happened? Are you mad at me? Are you frustrated? And then the whole mood changes. So a lot of lessons, a lot of laughter, because sometimes you just have to laugh. And when your loved one is my dad was my rock, right? He was the one who kept us all together over the years. So losing that piece, you lose who you are as his daughter or her daughter or that person's relationship with you. And I didn't realize that, but here's the biggest piece. I did not, and I'm just being vulnerable here, I did not take into consideration that my mother, who had been married to my father for over 60 years, was losing a spouse and didn't know what to do. So I did not have that compassion. Does that make some sense to you? Because I was so intent in taking care of him that I did not take care of her properly. Now she's living with me, so it works out. But, well, in the shed, and I know that sounds funny, but she lives in the shed. So she wanted to move on my property, so I keep her in the shed. There is a lock on the inside and the outside. But she's 89, she's never home, she's happy as she can be, but she's in the shed. So, but I know where she is. But I had to go to her and say, you know what? I never recognized your grief as this was going on because I was so consumed with caregiving. So my goal in sharing with people is saying there are places that can help. There are avenues where you can reach out and get support. These two ladies do that on a regular basis. They're perfect timing, Kelsey. So they can find support. There are, I know Amazon, I think they should have a meeting for those of us that are really hooked on Amazon. But there's games and puzzles for dementia patients on Amazon. Who knew, right? So I'm Googling and ordering everything they sell. But there are avenues, there's resources, there are ways to take care of yourself, there are emotions that come up that you've never experienced in your life, there are struggles that you never experienced. In my real world at work, I deal with resources. That's what I do. And I did not have those resources. So when you're in it, you don't think about it. But afterwards, now I see tons of resources, right? Every time I get on Facebook, hey, there's a meeting, there's an opportunity. So if you're in this position or you know somebody, it's so easy to say, take care of yourself. That's not realistic. It would be a dream, right? It'd be great. But knowing that we have resources in our own community is huge because I didn't know it. I was so focused on what I was doing, I had no idea that you guys were out there, that this was an avenue. So yes, of course, take care of yourself if you can, but you are on an island. I wish you weren't. I wish it was different and not everybody has support, not everybody doesn't have support, but there are resources, and that is the one thing that I'm passionate about, is letting people know, get your resources when you're going through this. It doesn't have to be your caregiving just for someone with memory loss. That was my experience, that was my heartbreak, but there's other caregiving going on for people who are ill, for people that are temporarily going through something. And so take those resources, utilize them or recommend them out. And we live in a community that is full of support. That's what we do best here, is support one another. Something happens, we get more clothing for people in our community that you could imagine, right? So we were just talking about clothing and what you do with it and things like that. Reach out to those people. If you can't reach out to your family because you're doing it on your own, look. There's so many books. Books aren't always personal. There are some that are. But this is such a personal walk that sometimes you just need to know there's somebody that's going to come alongside you and say, you know what, I do know what you're going through. I didn't just read about it, I know. Finding a caregiver is a whole other book, but when it's not within your person. I have some great stories about that, but we'll wait. So that's all I really want. If I have a message out that I'm passionate about, this is it. This is what I stand on. This is what I live with every day, because it didn't just break my heart and grieve my heart to lose my dad or the way I lost him, but it was that I didn't know that the support was out there on a different level. So learn about what they offer, learn about their events, go to them, just sit for a minute and say, I'm not by myself. I'm not by myself, because after it's done, that piece hurts. That piece hurts. So I won't take up much more of your time. I could stand here for another hour. You'd all go to sleep. I'd start getting snacks out. But I want to thank you for listening, and I hope that you learn more about these opportunities in your community to offer you the support of the people that you care about.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.